Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another 40k video from Major Kill. So I'm kind of keeping with the Tyranid theme, sorta. I heard he did a video from the Template Institute talking about the first Tyrannic War, which was very cool to learn about that, the arrival of the Tyranids, the battle from a crag. I have yet to find a video to watch about the devastation of Baal. I'd really like to learn about that and see what happened there. Obviously, Tyranids versus all the chapters of the Blood Angels, but like anyone else help, what happened, I guess, at that battle. Did the Tyranids change any tactics or anything like that? Did they learn anything from McCragg and fighting Space Marines? So did they change things up? Yeah, I'd just like to find a video to watch about devastation of Baal. Now, the topic for today's video is, what if the Tyranids reached Terra? Oof. That would be very interesting. I guess it kind of depends on how much of a heads up Terra got, because in the first Tyrannic War, when the Tyranids arrived, that first planet only had a week, 2 weeks notice that they were coming, so they didn't have a whole lot of time. Yeah, they held out a little bit, but didn't end well for them. McCragg, on the other hand, had 3 months, I think. They had a much longer warning that they were coming, so they were able to really crank out some defenses and stuff like that. So I guess for Terra, it would kind of depend on, how much time they had. But I am assuming that they would immediately go into overdrive in ramping up the war machine in weapons, ammo, mines, defenses, turrets, anything and everything they can. I am sure Mars would be doing the same thing. Tanks, cannons, artillery, mortars, whatever they make and stuff like that would immediately be put into overdrive. I am sure some sort of alert would be sent out to recall any and all forces in the area to immediately return back to Terra to obviously defend Terra. I'm sure even some forces that are probably even further out would probably also be recalled. Hey, just get here as soon as you can. Even in the middle of the battle, you can still do something. And then after that, the battle would just begin. This massive last stand, if you will, would begin. And I don't know what else they would do, what other tricks and stuff like that they could pull out, but yeah, it would be very interesting. Unfortunately, someone's cutting the grass next door. Perfect timing. I gotta say, the Tyranids are very interesting. I like the Tyranids, but it just kind of stinks that there is no characters, that you can kind of like connect with or latch onto. Space Marines, you got all these different characters, you can kind of, I don't want to say connect with, but yeah, I guess connect or latch onto. You got Grimaldus, you got Gilliman, you've got the Lion, you've got Azrael, you got the Emperor's Champion, you've got this and that. You got Commander Farsight, you've got the Silent King, you've got Abaddon, you got Karn the Betrayer. You got all these different characters. Tyranids just don't have anything at all. They got what, like One Eye or something like that, old One Eye or whatever it's called, but there's no characters. Now, let me know what you think. Would you be down with, say, like a Kerrigan type of character for the Tyranids? A human-ish Tyranid character, that could also talk and speak and stuff like that. Like a Mouth of Sauron, if you will. Mouth of the Hive Mind. Would you be down for some sort of human-ish character like that could talk, and then you could kind of like latch on to this character and stuff? Maybe even do some books from like their point of view and stuff like that. I think that'd be kind of interesting, having like a Queen of Blades type of character for Tyranids. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Would you be down for a human-ish Tyranid character that could talk and speak for the hive mind, or do you just like this mindless drone swarm army? It doesn't speak or doesn't do or say anything, you know? Let me know what you guys think. Alright, so anyways, let's get on to the video and find out what the hell would happen to Terra if the Tyranids arrived.
G'day guys and gal. Although the Tyranids just seem like a minor pest on the galactic stage since they pretty much never win, and when they do it doesn't actually affect anything, they are theoretically the galaxy's greatest threat. More dangerous than Chaos, the Orcs, Necrons, and the Tau combined. That is because there is a theory that GW loves encouraging that the current Tyranid hive fleets are just the tip of the foreskin compared to the rest of the shaft that the Tyranids have in reserve. Vanguard fleets, scout forces. If this is true, then yeah, rip Warhammer 40k, but until it's actually proven, as of right now the Tyranid forces we see are the Tyranid forces in play. But that begs the question,
that would be kind of cool, like what else is out there?
Invade the Sol system and consume Terra? What would happen if they tried? Could they even get past the outer defenses? It's an interesting question and worth talking about. Before we get started, I'm happy to announce the latest major mini, the Xenonid Winged Parasite. The Xenonids have been a top-selling range in the major minis, so I thought let's add a unique, interesting new unit to spice up your existing Xenonid armies, start a new one, or even use it as a unique unit for your
That is pretty badass. Forces. I like the Xenomorph.
This model is especially well crafted, complicated but not difficult
Mouth,
to paint,
that's pretty cool.
It's been broken into easy to put together parts. It also comes with some nice, definitely not dangerous eggs as its base prop. Alongside this new model, the Xenonid range also includes Raptors, Warriors, and a Tyranids, all of which can be bought in a value bundle. If this
Dude, that warrior looks so cool.
Dozens of other models, including the Space Elf Avenger Lord, the Shark
I like that warrior, just the way it's poses, just arms out.
With only $10 worldwide shipping, it's worth checking out. Link is below. Today we'll go over what would happen if the Tyranids decided to try consume Terra. This will be a realistic, lore-friendly what if, not just a every Tyranid versus every Space Marine kind of vibe. Let's get into it. The strategic advantage of wiping out Terra would be huge for the Tyranids. Without the Astronomicon, the Imperium cannot travel the warp very well. However, the Tyranids don't need the Astronomicon, so it wouldn't affect them. This would effectively make each Imperial world isolated and vulnerable, allowing the Nids to consume the lightly defended worlds first, and then build up enough biomass to take on the bigger, more fortified worlds, like Rag. However, Terra is also the most defended world in the entire galaxy. It's even more defended now than it was during the Siege of Terra, with all kinds of fucked up shit protecting it, as well as the fact that getting there is also a big issue, with numerous worlds in the way, as well as fleets that would try to engage and skirmish with the Tyranids. But just because it isn't easy, doesn't mean the Nids can't do it. First up, the Nids would need to gather their strength. They wouldn't use all their hive fleets in case they were defeated. The hive mind knows the risk and knows that if it committed its entire strength and was killed, then the Tyranids would be effectively wiped out from the setting until more hive fleets arrived. The Nids would begin merging various hive fleets into a mega fleet, with Leviathan being its core. However, the splinters of Behemoth and Kraken would also converge. This mustering would likely take place somewhere on Imperium Nihilus, so the Imperium would struggle to detect the build-up of power, whilst also providing the Nids with numerous vulnerable worlds to collect biomass on. Many of the minor hive fleets would also converge here, including Chimera, Grendel, Harbinger, Proteus, which was already actually heading to Terra, Jormungandr, Dagon, and more. Some would not be called up, such as Kronos, who was designed to combat Chaos, but many others would. This huge
I didn't know there was so many different hive fleets.
Result in a lot of sharing of DNA that has been captured across the galaxy, upgrading existing combat forms and inventing entirely new ones that would be designed to combat Imperial forces. The hive mind would want to travel to Terra as fast as possible in an attempt to take the throne world by surprise and prevent it from being overly prepared. Using their Narval bioships, the Tyranids would be able to create a large gravity wormhole sci-fi thingo that I don't really understand super well to bend space and travel faster than light towards Terra, bypassing the Great Rift. Despite their attempt at being incognito, such a big build-up of Tyranids as well as them beginning their transportation towards Terra would be detected and Terra alerted. There's also a good chance that the Emperor would see this coming and give his custodians visions via their dreams to prepare for war against the hive mind, or Dragon as it's often called. Eldrad would also receive visions and communicate them to Gilliman to return to the throne world. Tyranid travel is slow but very reliable. It would probably take them a decade or more to reach Terra.
Oh,
giving the Imperium
Jesus.
time
A
to
decade?
withdraw Guilliman to Terra, and also probably the Lion. All custodians would also be returned to Terra alongside hundreds of thousands of Space Marines and countless Guardsmen.
Yep.
The Sol System's planets would also begin fortifying themselves, with Mars being a standout. The Phalanx, the Rock, as well as thousands of other warships would be prepared. The Shadowkeepers would also unlock and deploy various Dark Age of technology weaponry from the Dark Cells, whilst other forbidden tech, such as the Psi Titans of the Ordo Sinister, would also once again be reactivated. The Tyranid fleet would contain hundreds of thousands of ships, or even millions, with trillions or more individual warriors. It would also contain thousands of Super Tyranid units, like Bio-Titans. With such a large fleet, the Tyranid Shadow and the Warp ability, a warp disorientating effect they have, would clash with the full might of the Astronomicon. It's unclear which would prevail. Is the Emperor's psychic might enough to keep Terra shining in the warp, thus allowing for reinforcements to keep arriving, or would it smother it, making Terra undiscoverable until it was too late, or until it had fought off the Nids itself? Let's say the Astronomicon holds the Shadow at bay from nullifying the Imperial Psyche elements, but it also smothers the Sol System in a shadow, making the Astronomicon disappear from sight for now. The space battle would be insane, and despite the Nids' huge numbers advantage, their chances of taking on the largest fleet ever assembled is pretty small. Guilliman, the Lion, Trajan Valoris, the greatest tactical minds in the galaxy, would be too much for the Nids, combined with the obscene firepower from their super ships, like the Rock and the Phalanx. Not to mention Terra's orbitable plates and surface-to-space weapons, as well as Mechanicus elements. No, the Nids would want to land on Terra as soon as possible. They would begin by splitting their mega fleet into hundreds of smaller swarm fleets. Each swarm would blockade and siege the other planets in the Sol System, divide and conquer style, whilst the main swarms would attempt to get around the Imperial fleet and begin dropping units and spores on Terra as soon as possible. Many Tyranids would die, especially the bioships that engaged the main Imperial fleet in order to tie it down long enough for the rest of the swarms to get through. Inevitably, the Tyranids would get through after suffering massive casualties. However, with how massive their army is, they wouldn't really mind. The Nids would begin dropping their forces in populated but mostly undefended areas on Terra, their spores disgorging countless warriors to spread out and wipe out local defenders, take down surface-to-air weaponry to then allow greater amounts of higher-tier Tyranids to be sent down.
Go for the air defenses first.
Landed, another would get shot out of the sky, with Tyranid casualties already in the billions. However, with Terra's insane population of quadrillions of people, the Nids would quickly begin consuming and harvesting its people's biomass, bringing them to digestion pools and allowing them to create warriors on Terra's surface. The Nids don't have time for a protracted siege though. In space, more and more of their ships are dying. Some of their swarms are able to take out the weaker planets in the Sol System. However, others like Mars are able to annihilate the invading Nids, whilst others like Titan are also able to hold out. With trillions of Nids landing on Terra, they would begin to bum rush the Imperial Palace, encountering much heavier resistance in the form of kill zones, Space Marines, Titans, Custodians, and mass groups of Guardsmen. The Nids' casualties would pile up more and more. However, with Bio-Titan's support, as well as the elite Tyranid forms, they would slowly and steadily begin to gain ground. All the while raining down just imagine that giant thing. They can't just drop them straight on, as the palace is shielded and has a shitload of guns, but before long, the Imperial Palace is surrounded by trillions of frenzied Nids. The amount of Nid corpses would create literal siege towers that other Nids would climb up, whilst their blood would
understand that wanting to go for
flooding low-lying areas.
The throne
the Lion
first.
and Guilliman would be defending the palace personally alongside Trajan. They would have to be careful though. Even with their immense physical prowess, it would be their command skills that are valuable here, not their swordplay. Having a sick power sword or a 12-inch cock doesn't do much against a literal tide of a million Tyranids sweeping you up. Hence, the Imperial heroes would more so be tasked with commanding different key areas and then taking out elite Tyranids that are able to get ahead of the swarm in order to try soften the defenses to allow the swarm to push up. Stuff like lictors, winged hive tyrants, trigons, or other chunky boys that can fly or burrow underground. There would also be numerous new Tyranid forms, including the Norn Emissary, who would be constantly attempting to assassinate key Imperial heroes, such as Chapter Masters or the Primarchs themselves. So you bet your ass that our heroes would be busy as fuck. However, overall, this wouldn't end up killing
Norn Emissary is pretty impressive,
as each commander would have a personal elite custodian bodyguard. The Tyranid push would look something like this. the swarm would encounter heavy resistance and begin to falter as it suffers huge casualties. Various lictors, trigons, gargoyles, and other infiltration nids would then attempt to swarm the defenders' backline positions. The defenders would fight them off and kill them, but the destruction and damage done would be enough to allow the swarm
kept
to
them
push
away
through and force the defenders to withdraw to another defensible position. Thus,
weaken the
Tyranids
main
would
area.
slowly gain ground. It would be a very costly tactic, but the Tyranids need to be fast and they have a lot of warriors to spare. This is where a number of things would occur. Either the Tyranids would eventually run out of gas from the Imperial onslaught, or the Imperials would win the space battle and begin orbitally bombing the Nid ground forces into oblivion, or the defenders' final defense point, probably in a hectic choke point within the palace itself, would be too strong for the Nids to push through, or maybe the Nids finally do push through and get enough warriors past to reach the Golden Throne. However, the Emperor isn't some bitch. With the opening of the Great Rift, he has actually managed to regain a level of consciousness and awareness, and you bet your ass he would be jizzing out holy fire to burn some bugs. No, the only way would be for the Tyranids to get the Swarm Lord, as well as hundreds or even thousands of Neurolictors, Zoanthropes, and Neurothropes to surround the Golden Throne, which would mean that the Tyranids would have already had to have achieved total victory or something close to it to set it up. But I really just don't see that happening. The devastation of Baal was around 30,000 Blood Angels and a few million human soldiers on a solidly defended but not fortress world versus High Fleet Leviathan, the largest Tyranid hive in the setting at the time. Sure, the Blood Angels only survived due to the arrival of Kabanda and Gilliman, but they did most of the work themselves. Yes, the Tyranid force attacking Terra would be many times the size of Leviathan, however the defenses on Terra are infinitely better than those on Baal. Not to mention the thousands of Custodies, 2 Primarchs, hundreds of thousands of Space Marines, trillions of Guardsmen, as well as all the other fucked up forbidden shit that would get deployed. Even if the Tyranids had an infinite number of warrior forms,
like to know what the forbidden stuff is.
Breach the palace before the Imperial fleet took out the Nid ships. The Nid's best warrior forms, like the Swarm Lord or Norn Emissary, still don't hold a candle compared to the Primarchs, and with Mars being next to Terra, you bet your ass the Might of the Mechanicus would be on full bug swatting display. There's also a decent chance that the Silent King and Eldar would intervene, assisting the Imperials by wiping out thousands of Nid ships. After all, the Silent King sees the Nids as the galaxy's greatest threat and wants sentient life to continue, whilst the Eldar know that the Imperium is their bulwark against their own extinction. So I'd expect a few craft and a fuck-off huge Necron fleet to also get involved, especially since both factions can bypass the Shadow and the Warp. Overall, it would be shit for the Imperium, with Terra getting devastated and a number of Sol System worlds getting consumed. But the Nids would lose so much biomass that it would take them centuries to recover if they ever did. So it's not so much could they reach Terra, it's why they would want to, given their chances of victory are so tiny. There's also every chance that they wouldn't even be able to land a single warrior on Terra due to the system's defenses. When Khorne unleashed his legions on Terra, catching the Imperium by surprise while the Emperor was knocked out from the opening of the Great Rift, they were defeated despite Terra having no time to prepare and Khorne being turbocharged. A prepared Sol system is not something to fuck with, and the Hive Mind knows this. Just look at what happened to Horus. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Xenonid Winged Parasite, the latest and greatest major mini. Hit the subscribe button.
That is a pretty cool mini.
Button for more Spacebug content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, so there we go. That is what would happen if the Nids reach Terra. I guess it just all depends on how things would play out, but yeah, wouldn't really end well for the Tyranids. Yeah, got really no chance. I mean, it would be one massive battle, but yeah, from the sounds of it, they got no chance. No chance at all. I mean, Primarchs, Chapter Masters, Custodies, Space Marine Chapters, the Guard, just everything. Yeah, and then that's interesting about the Tyranids and Eldar. Like I did say in a couple of the other videos, you know, like the Eldar would come to the Imperium's defense if it was in a dire time of need, like something like this, because, you know, the Imperium is like the biggest fighting force and holding back all these different threats and stuff like that, and if they were to go away, all these threats are left unchecked. Eldar wouldn't be able to handle all of that, you know what I mean? That would, you know, so it would make sense for the Eldar to arrive and be like, hey, we're here to help. Okay, you can go back to, holding off these other threats because we can't handle all of them at once. Just imagine like chaos and orcs and Tyranids and Dark Eldar and stuff all going after Eldar all together at once, no chance. But yeah, that's pretty interesting about the Necrons too. Yeah, so I'm kind of surprised seeing Necrons and I guess Eldar reinforcements. That'd be interesting. But yeah, I definitely do want to see more about Devastation of Baal. He did mention a little bit of it. Kabanda was there. Gilliman was there. I don't remember where he was talking about it. I think it was back further. No. Oh well. I gotta say, that thing is so cool. That is so cool. Not gonna lie. Can you just imagine seeing something like that coming at you? Like, yeah. Oh, there it is. Baal.
Already had to achieve total victory or something close to it to set it up, but I really just don't see that happening. The devastation of Baal was around 30,000 Blood Angels and a few million human soldiers on a solidly defended but not fortress world versus High Fleet Leviathan, the largest Tyranid hive in the setting at the time. Sure, the Blood Angels only survived due to the arrival of Kabanda and Gilliman, but they...
Oh, okay, so Kabanda arrived and Gilliman. See, that's the stuff I want to learn about.
Did most of the work themselves. Yes, the Tyranid force attacking Terra would be many times.
So that I didn't know until he just said it, that Gilliman arrived and Kabanda arrived. I guess, Kabanda and them have a feud, so would make sense. But yeah, so anyways, there we go. There is what if the Tyranids reach Terra and how it would play out. It would be interesting to see what type of dark technologies they would deploy and stuff like that, and what things from like the, what do you say, the dark cells and stuff like that would be used, like what type of stuff would be deployed. That would be very interesting. I know Dark Angels apparently have a lot of really powerful Dark Age of technology weapon racing, how they were the first chapter, so of course needed them to have really good weaponry to take out the Thunder Warriors. So yeah, so they probably got some really good stuff. But yeah, this is very interesting with Games Workshop kind of teasing like, oh yeah, this is just the tip of the Tyranids and stuff like that, and the rest is still out there. I mean, I don't know if that's something like actually true, like yes, this is just the tip of the Tyranids and there's more out there, or if that's just like a story thing, like oh yeah, whatever, High Fleet Leviathan was wiped out, whatever. I mean, there's still like way more out there that just beyond the solar system and stuff like that. So if that's just a like a story thing, like oh yeah, see, they can replenish no problem and stuff like that. But if there is actually like more out there, it's like I wonder what other kind of things are out there, what other type of monsters and creatures and things like that. It would be very interesting. But yeah, so there we go. There is the video. Very interesting. Yeah, Tyranids got really no chance at all. It would be extremely costly, apparently. Yeah, it just wouldn't end well for them. Massive casualties, probably even on both sides. Well, more so on obviously the Tyranids, but I'm sure the defenders would also suffer heavy casualties as well. But yeah, pretty sure their main goal, nope, wouldn't succeed. But anyways, there we go. So there is the video. Leave me all your thoughts and comments. What do you guys think? How do you think things would play out if the Tyranids arrived on Terra? And would you like I said in the beginning of the video, would you like to see some sort of human-ish Mouth of Sauron, Kerrigan-esque character for the Tyranids, you know, so that way you could have a character to kind of connect with, if you will? Or do you just want this mindless, you know, mindless swarm? You know, let me know. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links in the description box below. Come join me over on Discord. There's a link to my Discord channel in the description box. We can talk more 40k. If you guys do have any Devastation of Baal videos, you can post a link over there so that we can check them out and finally learn what went down at the Devastation of Baal. And yeah, we can talk more 40k. So anyways, other than that, just stick around. More videos are on the way, and I will see you guys next time.